Oh, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Joe. Greetings from Lima. Greetings from not Lima. Greetings from the third world country of Canada, more specifically, the province of Ontario. Welcome to the show. Anybody else who's here or watching or whatever, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm a smidge late. I went to boot up and everything froze, so I had to close everything off and, you know, reopen it and all that jazz. So, yeah. So if I'm a little late, I apologize. Yeah. So I got a few things to talk about this week. It's it's politics season. So I'm avoiding most of that, but I am going to talk a little bit about RFK Jr.'s endorsement of Trump and, you know, what that entails, I guess. I don't know. We knew that was coming. It's he was just going to play spoiler otherwise, so glad he did that. Also going to talk about the Dow Jones hitting a record high today. Sorry about my voice is a little off today because I've been sick for the last week. So I may cough a little. If I do, I apologize. But just plug your ears. No, I'll try not to cough into the mic directly. So a record Dow Jones high today. I don't know what that means for the markets or for anything in general because it's all pie in the sky at this point anyway, I think. But we'll talk about it. Also, Telegram, if you know what that is, it's kind of like a WhatsApp for Russia and in Europe. I think there's like 1 billion users or something on it. Well, the CEO got arrested in France because France is kind of, I don't know, they seem to be against freedom of speech, so they're up to it. They've been up to it for a little while over there. We'll talk about that. Also, interestingly enough, police are starting to use AI chatbots to write their reports. It's kind of interesting. It's funny when you start to see it making its way into regular everyday use, I guess. Seems to be working for these limited amount of police outlets that are using it, but we'll talk about that. Also, Argentina's new government over the last, whatever it's been now, 8 months since December, they've been making some pretty bold changes. We're going to talk about what they've done and how it's kind of affected that, and we'll see where we land on that. And lastly, I'm going to play a Clown World video that's just going to pissed me off watching it. So, I like misery loves company, so I like to share what pisses me off with you if you're watching. So that's what I got today. If you are a subscriber already, thanks for subscribing. If not, hit the subscribe, join the channel, join the chat. Like Joe, my friend here is with me every week. Comment, share all that. All the engagement, all that engagement stuff helps small channels like this make their way in the YouTube universe. Otherwise, they just throttle me down when I talk about, stuff that I'm maybe not supposed to talk about. Not supposed to. The overlords shut me down, or they just throttle down my videos or whatever, right? So if you like it, the best way to get around that is to subscribe, share, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And note that next week I will not be here for the podcast because I am away. So you'll catch some reruns next week. Oh, and another thing, if you miss any part of the podcast and you want to catch smaller segments, I release those segments during the week between Tuesday and Sunday. Depending on how many segments, I usually do 6 on the show. Sometimes I don't release all 6 because they're not as relevant later. If you want to catch those, you catch them at 5 o'clock Eastern. And again, same thing goes with those. Like, comment, share, all that kind of stuff to push the channel. All right. Without further ado, let's get on to the first thing. Joe, you're awfully quiet, buddy. I'm going to expect that you talk during the segments. All right, here we go. Let me plop this first one up here. Doop. Yeah. No, listen, maybe I wasn't exactly clear about the week that I was going to be away, Joe, but I did say I was going to be away. I'm pretty sure I said the first Monday of September, but you'd have to go back and check a podcast. Just go watch the whole thing, see if I said that. I'm not sure. it's the summer, so it's kind of like it's a bonus every time I show up on a Monday. But like I said, Joe, you're the one that keeps me coming. So, all right, let's go on this first topic here. So the Dow Jones is at a record high again. Every time it hits a record high, it's going to be the next time it's going to be a record high, right? So, but with the last week, the week before, essentially, the markets have been volatile as all heck lately. So it's good to see that the Dow Jones is hitting a record high. I don't know what that means exactly for the economy as a whole, since the stock market doesn't seem to be a good indicator of that. But I don't know. Let's see what CNN Business has to say. A little dumpster fire over here. Let's see what they have to say about it. So Dow Jones closes at new record high on rate cut rally. Here's what's next for Wall Street. So U.S. stocks closed Monday mixed as investors look to a key earnings report and a slew of economic data points due later this week. The Dow Jones closed 65 points, or 0.2% higher on Monday, to a new record high of 41,241. The S&P 500 fell 0.3%, and the NASDAQ composite lost 0.9%. It's just so funny that the NASDAQ is taking hits with the tech stocks, considering some of the booms that have happened in the AI stocks this year, like Nvidia and such. But that's where they're at. Global markets have gone on a wild ride this month. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index crashed, and American stocks plunged in early August as the yen carry trade unraveled and a weak U.S. jobs report sparked recession fears. Mixed earnings reports from the big tech giants who dominated this year also dragged the market lower. Which is funny that they talk about the lower jobs report, which, as you may know by now, was further decreased by 818,000 jobs. They inflated it by 818,000 jobs, which is no small drop in the bucket. Talking about 750,000 jobs that were made up, pie in the sky. So could have been even worse. Just weeks later, the narrative has changed yet again. All three major U.S. stock indexes have now clawed back those losses and then some, on track to notch monthly gains. A slew of cooling inflation reports has investors riding high on optimism that the Federal Reserve will finally begin cutting interest rates next month after bringing rates to their highest levels in decades. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said Friday at an economic summit in Wyoming that the time has come for monetary policy to loosen, but all but cementing a September rate cut. Powell also indicated that he believes the Fed could achieve the elusive soft landing, which is when inflation comes down without a surge in unemployment. That scenario is an economic consensus, a market consensus, and seemingly a consensus of corporate America, wrote Katie Nixon, Chief Investment Officer at Northern Trust Wealth Management. Investors are now shifting their attention to Nvidia, which reports earnings Wednesday afternoon. Shares of the chipmaker declined 2.3% on Monday, but the stock is still at a whopping 155% this year as investors continue betting on the artificial intelligence boom and the companies who make that technology possible. Nvidia is expected to report second quarter revenue of $28.7 billion and $15 billion in profit, according to FactSet estimates. Chipmaker, which has been the biggest benefactor of the artificial intelligence frenzy sweeping Wall Street, has handily beat analysis projections in recent quarters. Wall Street favors Nvidia among chip makers because its processors are unparalleled for powering AI, including generative AI and the technology backing algorithms such as ChatGPT. But investors have become skeptical in recent weeks about whether the billions of dollars that tech behemoths have poured into the burgeoning industry will result in boosts for their top lines. They have had to contend with questions about whether AI will actually lead to revolutionary efficiency gains or just prove to be a cash drain. That's the thing. They're always going to say stuff like that when it comes to sort of new and emerging technology. It's speculative, obviously, but I think we can start to see, and I'm going to talk about this on another segment of the podcast, about how this kind of technology can just be used in day-to-day everything. Just making everything just a little bit better when you use it in conjunction with something else, not as a standalone necessarily. So, what is the next big boom? It's going to be the AI market. Obviously, computing and AI. It's been for the last little while. I can't see that changing. So this article continues on with a little bit more fluff. It's a CNN piece, so that's to be expected. But as far as the market being at a record high, excuse me, one portion of the market being at a record high today, I don't think that's really conducive of the whole of the market as a whole, right? So I wouldn't be too enthused at this. The fact is the economy still seems to be pretty bad. If you're a consumer, you kind of know that. If you're in any portion of of the consumer end of the market, essentially, you're in retail or anything like that, you can tell that there's a slip, and it still is a slip. And just the housing market in general is another indicator of how bad the market could be. So while it's good to see that, and especially good for people that have money invested in these indices. I don't know if it's an overall win for where we are economically. You saying there, Joe? Keeping to coming is your reference. Yep, true, man. It is. That's her job. Doesn't want. She's not here like you are, though, buddy. You're here, so you gotta keep me here. You gotta keep me here. She keeps me there. You keep me here. I feel like Nvidia will drop just a little bit, then surge next quarter when the new GPUs are released. But that also depends on how much people feel like an upgrade is worth it. Yeah, it's more now. It's like what Tesla was doing for years, where they're kind of just getting their tech in place, right? And what they're still kind of doing with the self-drive. Like, you look at the self-drive, what they're doing with that, doesn't have any real value right now, but it has like this future intrinsic value. That's what Nvidia is doing. They're just setting themselves up for future intrinsic value. So if you can get in now, I don't know what to tell people, because I used to be a financial advisor. What to tell people as far as investing in the tech sector? Do you get into Nvidia now, and they're pretty high? They've had a massive jump over the last year. You get into them now, or do you hold off? Do you wait? Is there a dip? You just can't tell. So you're either a long-term investor, you invest in it long-term, or you try and ride the market. And you try to ride the market. Well, that's like getting on a bull, right? On a bull with a tyrannical controller. He's gonna try and get you off that bull. But I say it's worth getting into if you've got the money to invest in it and take the long ride. So, but again, I'm not a financial stock guy, so don't listen to what I say. Do whatever you want with your money. All right, get on the next thing here. Boom. Do here. Close it off. All right. I'm having a hard time here. Okay. So Telegram CEO was arrested in France. Oh, this isn't good. They're arresting him due to a probe into some, I don't want to say it, some C porn. I shouldn't even say the word PORN, because that might get me throttled down a little bit. But yeah, so there's apparently the site Telegram is being used a little for that kind of stuff. They all get used for these kinds of things, but this seems like more of a nefarious attack against free speech. I'm going to read this article here. This is Reuters. That's what they have to say. So Telegram CEO arrested over probe into CP, de-trafficking on app. I can't say these words or else it's just gonna. You can probably read it. You know what I'm talking about. So, Pavel Durov, the Russian-born founder of messaging app Telegram, was arrested in France as part of an investigation into crimes related to DP and DT and fraudulent transactions on the platform, French prosecutors said on Monday. French President Emmanuel Macron making the first official confirmation of Durov's arrest since he was detained at Le Bourget airport outside Paris on Saturday evening, said there was no political motive in the arrest, despite many false comments online. He added that France remains deeply committed to lawful free speech. Yeah, right. Sure thing. The arrest of the Telegram president of French territory took place as part of an ongoing judicial investigation, Macron wrote on X. This is in no way a political decision. It's up to the judges to decide. In a subsequent statement, Paris prosecutor Laurie Bacall said Durov was arrested as part of a probe into an unnamed person launched by the Office Cybercrime Unit on July 8th. The investigation is over suspected complicity in various crimes, including running an online platform that allows illicit transactions, CP, DT, and fraud, as well as the refusal to communicate information to authorities, money laundering, and providing cryptographic services to criminals, the statement said. Durov can be held until Wednesday, it added. Telegram is a popular messaging and social media app akin to WhatsApp. The encrypted application, with close to 1 billion users, is particularly influential in Russia, Ukraine, and the republics of the former Soviet Union. Durov's arrest prompted criticism from ex-owner Elon Musk, who said that free speech in Europe was under attack, and calls from Moscow for French authorities to accord Durov his rights. Tensions between France and Russia have been mounting for months, with French authorities accusing Russia of trying to destabilize it ahead of the Paris Olympics in response to its more hawkish stance on the Ukraine war. Durov, a 39-year-old billionaire cast as Russia's Mark Zuckerberg, has dual French and United Arab Emirates citizenship. So he's worth some, let's say, $15.5 billion. Pretty good. He's only 39. Another pretty successful young billionaire. This just goes on further to talk about how he's a French citizen now, and he pushed through essentially as a they do a thing. I guess you get someone who's a high value citizen, they'll kind of push them through the immigration process a lot quicker, or forego some of the formalities that they use with someone else, right? For example, with France, you have to have lived there for 5 years or something, right? But they naturalized him fairly quickly. Yeah, I guess that means they can screw with him and arrest him too, though. So maybe that was part of the point to naturalize him so quickly. This kind of thing is just these small attacks against free speech that aren't they're not fairly executed. You don't look at Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook being treated the same way. So it's a slippery slope when they start getting into arresting these guys for things like this, right? There's what is it, Bill 216, I think it is, that allows it. You're either a platform, essentially, where you're a free speech platform where you don't really control or moderate what's going on your platform, or you're a publisher and you do that. So, but they like to play both sides of that. So. And then they use it against someone like this when they arrest him for that very point where they say that he should be responsible for what's on the platform. It's a weird sort of slippery slope. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully this is just sort of a little blip and they're just trying to maybe they're doing something for political purposes, and this isn't like a full-on attack against free speech over in France. All right. That article, I wasn't even interested in that article, but it seemed to be important to talk about. So, bit of a slow news week when it comes to that, unless I hit on all the politics angles. But again, doesn't do me any good. It's all throttled down anyway. The only way I can really talk about politics, the channel gets bigger, and then I can get around any of the shadow banning that goes on. All right, let's get on to the next thing here. So no doubt by now, RFK Jr. has endorsed Trump for the presidency. We knew this was coming. I mean, who else was he going to endorse? He's not going to endorse Kamala dumpster fire. So what's his other choice here? I'm going to read this article. It's Politico. So Politico sometimes is okay. I don't know, but they don't really take a balanced approach. So let's see what they have to say here. RFK Jr. says Trump endorsement not out of revenge. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said Sunday his endorsement of Donald Trump is not out of revenge on Democrats, and he plans to continue campaigning for the former president. I'm going to be campaigning actively. Kennedy said in an interview with Shannon Bream on Fox News Sunday. I think President Trump will make a series of announcements with other Democrats who are joining his campaign, and I want to make America healthy again, and so does President Trump. That's the thing. When you look at the fact that Trump's running as a Republican, but realistically, he's more of a moderate. He only seems like he's right because the Overton windows moved, but he was always a Democrat back in the day. So he's kind of he's more of a classic Democrat than he is a Republican. Anyway, so I can see how a lot of Kennedy's ideas could align with Trump, whereas there'll be a lot of things that don't either, right? Kennedy, who's argued that Democrats effectively blocked him from seeking the nomination this year, also said he only plans to withdraw his name from the ballot in 10 swing states and will stay on about 30 state ballots where his candidacy is not likely to affect the outcome. Kennedy said, in the states where I would have been a spoiler, I'm going to get out. It's about 10 states. While Kennedy said he still disagrees with Trump on some issues, he had talked to Trump after his assassination attempt and then had 2 extensive meetings with him after that. Trump invited me to form a unity government, and we agreed to be able to continue to criticize each other on issues on which we don't agree, Kennedy said, adding Trump committed to helping him on issues like ending the war in Ukraine and ending censorship. These issues are so important for unifying our country. We need in this country to reach a point where we love our children more than we hate each other. That's pretty well said. There's been some speculation also that Trump may offer Kennedy a position, some pretty key positions in his government. One that's been tossed around, which would be unbelievably ironic, if he made him the director of the CIA or something like that. That would be pretty funny. Kennedy also said there have been no other talks of cabinet positions in exchange for his endorsement with the Trump campaign. As for Kennedy's family, who have all endorsed Biden and now Harris, Kennedy said his family is free to take their positions, but that we all need to be able to disagree with each other and still love each other. When asked about whether his endorsement was made out of revenge or anger with the Democratic Party, he said it had zero impact on his decision. In anything in my life, I don't act out of anger or revenge or resentment. It's a bad motivation, like swallowing poison, hoping someone else will die. Kennedy said, so I don't do it. I am very pragmatic and practical. Terry Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s sister, released a statement with her siblings denouncing their brother's endorsement of Trump. Speaking Sunday on MSNBC's Inside with Jen Psaki, where she circles back a lot, by the way, she said she was outraged and disgusted by her brother's embrace of Trump. If my dad were alive today, the real Robert Kennedy would have detested almost everything that Trump represents, Terry Kennedy said, and I completely disavow and disassociate myself from Robert Kennedy Jr. and his flagrant efforts to trample my father's memory. Oh, shut up. What a dumpster fire thing to say. Get out of here. Who the hell are you anyway? Nobody even knows who you are. Only the fact that you have Kennedy as your last name. Banana. Yeah. So, hey, he's finally gotten out of the way. I mean, he was just going to play spoiler anyway, so good idea for him to get out of the way. And if he really is, looking to unify the country and actually make some good change, I think endorsing Trump's the only way to go. Otherwise, come on, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or moderate in the middle, or libertarian, whatever you are, I think we can kind of all see that Harris doesn't really have a platform to stand on at this point. She's not really running on anything. She's just running against Trump, which kind of seemed to work for Biden in 2020. So who knows, I guess. All right. 24 minutes. Good. I'm trying to get done quick. My throat's starting to hurt quite a bit. Trying to hold it together. Drinking this bubbly. Makes me a little gassy. So try not to drink too much of it. All right. Get on the next thing here. So the police are going to start using AI for writing their reports. They've already started doing it. That's kind of interesting. This is a report, or this is an article by MSNBC. So whatever, garbage. But let's see what they have to say here. So police officers are starting to use AI chatbots to write crime reports. Will they hold up in court? So a body camera captured every word and bark uttered as Police Sergeant Matt Gilmore and his canine dog Gunner searched for a group of suspects for nearly an hour. Normally, the Oklahoma City police sergeant would grab his laptop and spend another 30 to 45 minutes writing up a report about the search, but this time he had artificial intelligence write the first draft. Pulling from all the sounds and radio chatter picked up by the microphone attached to Gilbert's body camera, the AI tool churned out a report in 8 seconds. Wow. It was a better report than I could have ever written, and it was 100% accurate. It flowed better, Gilbert said. It even documented a fact he didn't remember hearing. Another officer's mention of the color of the car the suspects ran from. Oklahoma City's police department is one of a handful to experiment with AI chatbots to produce the first drafts of incident reports. Police officers who've tried it are enthused about all the time-saving technology, while some prosecutors, police watchdogs, and legal scholars have concerns about how it could alter a fundamental document in the criminal justice system that plays a role in who gets prosecuted or imprisoned. I don't know why they would think that, because realistically, if you're taking the human error out of it, and if, in this case, the human who was supposed to write the report looks back, reads it, and says, yep, that's like what I would write, or better than I would write, I don't see the problem. But built with the same technology as ChatGPT and sold by Axon, best known for developing the Taser and as the dominant U.S. supplier of body cameras, it could become what Gilbert describes as another game changer for police work. They become police officers because they want to do police work, and spending half their day doing data entry is just a tedious part of that job that they hate, said Axon's founder and CEO Rick Smith, describing the new AI product called Draft One as having the most positive reaction of any product the company has introduced. Now, there's certainly concerns, Smith added. Particularly, he said district attorneys prosecuting a criminal case want to be sure that police officers, not solely an AI chatbot, are responsible for authoring their reports because they may have to testify in court about what they witnessed. They never want to get an officer on the stand who says, well, the AI wrote that, I didn't. Smith said, well, I guess that makes a little bit of sense there, but at the same time, that's why you would go through it. Say, yeah, this is what, I attest to this and move on. And you just can't use that as a defense. AI technology is not new to police agencies, which have adopted algorithmic tools to read license plates, recognize suspects' faces, detect gunshot sounds, and predict where crimes might occur. Ooh, that one's scary. Predict where crimes might occur. We're getting into like pre-crime there. There's a whole movie about that. I forget what it's called with Tom Cruise, but that gets into some scary stuff. We start to pre-predict, and then now you're going to use AI to tell you where a crime may be occurring. And anyways, I digress. Many of those applications have come with privacy and civil rights concerns and attempts by legislators to set safeguards. But the introduction of AI-generated police reports is so new that there are few, if any, guardrails guarding their use. Concerns about society's racial biases and prejudices getting built into AI technology are just part of what Oklahoma City community activist Aurelius Francisco finds deeply troubling about the new tool, which he learned about from the Associated Press. That's really sad that they have to put that in there or have to think about that, because when you start to put racial biases into like Chat GPT and things like that, now you're starting to train the AI into looking at race as a thing when it shouldn't be doing any of that. It should just be looking at things completely unbiased. But you got people programming this language into it, and it's learning this language. So that is actually a concern, both ways. You get over, you might get profiling essentially in AI tools, which would be just a complete step backwards. The fact that the technology is being used by the same company that provides tasers to the department is alarming enough, said Francisco, co-founder of the Foundation for Liberating Minds in Oklahoma City. Well, that's alarming, but he said automating those reports will ease the police's ability to harass, surveil, and inflict violence on community members. Oh, shut up. Now you just lost me there. Okay. Like, I guess this guy's an anti-police person. How about you just hire the best people for the job? It's like the whole idea that guns kill people. No, people kill people. They use guns. While making the cops' job easier, it makes black and brown people's lives harder. Before trying out the tool in Oklahoma City, police officials showed it to local prosecutors who advised some caution before using it on high-stakes criminal cases. For now, it's only used for minor incident reports that don't lead to someone getting arrested. So no arrests, no felonies, no violent crimes, said Oklahoma City Police Captain Jason Assert, who handles information technology for the 1,170 officer department. That's not the case in another city, Lafayette, Indiana, where Police Chief Scott Galloway told the AP that all of his officers can use draft one on any kind of case, and it's been incredibly popular since the pilot began earlier this year. All right, well, they just go on and on in this article here, kind of putting more spin on why this could be bad and whatnot. I think it's probably a good thing. Let me know what you think in the comments as far as do you think AI can help police do a better job? I just personally think it's a tool, and I think if you use it as a tool, great. If you start to try and change the tool to suit a narrative or a bias, well, then that's going to be a problem, obviously. What do you got to say there? Oh, okay. Yeah, this isn't a closer step to Skynet at all. It's all closer, buddy. Every time we use AI for something else, it's closer. Because here you have the right to face your accuser, and you can face AI. Can't face AI. Yeah, but okay. So in this case, though, it's not. All it's doing is taking the words. So it's taking the body cam mic, and it's dictating what's being said, right? So that's the difference here. Now, if you were to use it to come up with its own sort of, its idea of what maybe transpired or something like that, and then it had to fill in blanks or anything like that, then yeah, then I agree with you there. But if it's just literally dictating a situation of what's happening, it's literally taking the transcript from the microphone and putting it to something, well, yeah, I don't think that's a problem. But I don't know why you need AI for that anyway. Like, I feel like that would just be a program that could easily do that. Whereas AI might start adding some stuff in there. That's where you start to get crazy with, bias and narrative and things like that. If you've used ChatGPT, then you'll know that it does fill in blanks when it doesn't have the answer to something. It kind of makes up things, which is already alarming. So I agree with you on that one. It's definitely a bit of a slippery slope. Demolition. You know what's funny about Demolition Man? You mentioned that. Demolition Man's a little weird that way because a lot of the stuff that's sort of happening now is almost like a preface to what was happening in Demolition Man. You're seeing a lot of things. It's very weird when you watch these movies like Demolition Man, where you see that almost like the two-tier society that's going on, where you have all the people that are against, everything that's run by essentially AI. But disagree with that. Certain races should be profiled, if you ask me. States or stats don't lie. I used to think like you, but then I woke up in regards to that. Yeah, well, okay. I think if you start to profile races, that's a problem. You can profile individuals regardless of their race. So, for example, if you're in areas that are known, high crime areas with gang-related crimes, yeah, okay, a lot of your policing is gonna happen there. And if you see, say young black men that either you know of them as gang members, like actual gang members that you know of them as gang members, or they're potential gang members. Yeah, okay, watching them a little bit more carefully and stuff, or profiling them. Yeah, I think you have to. I think that's just sort of preemptive police work. That's kind of that falls into that pre-crime thing. You're watching a guy who's casing out a building. He's just walking around a building. He has no reason to be there, but he's just there, kind of doing things that look suspicious. Well, you might want to put a stop to that because he's up to. There's no reason for him to be there and do that. So I agree with that, but that is a slippery slope. You start profiling people. You start to screw with people's freedom of movement and such. But I think it just has to be. You have to be made to know about it, and I think the communities that this is going on in have to sort of be a part of that as well. So, for example, if in my community I've got people, I know all my neighbors and such, and then there are a bunch of new people that I don't sort of know. I don't think it's a big deal to go up and say, "Hey guys, I'm Alex. I live here or whatever. What are you guys up to or whatever." I think when people take that offensively, they're like, "Oh, they want to get all up in arms about that." I think that's stupid. I would have no problem answering someone a question if they ask me something like, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just doing this thing here," or I don't know, I'm measuring out this person's yard because they want to do some yard work or whatever. I have no problem answering those kinds of questions. I don't think it's a big deal. Now, if they were harassing me, they were taking it further, like, "Oh, you're not allowed here unless your permission." I'm like, all right, now take a flying fuck off. But there's this, there's a happy medium between that is what I'm trying to say. And I think unfortunately police have to dance that line a lot of the time, or else they're going to look like they're just coming down on people for because they're a certain race or they're in a certain area and they're of that certain race in that certain area. It's a very, yeah, it's a tough dance to dance. I don't envy them. So I don't know. I don't have any real good answers on how they could do it exactly, but I think you have to have full transparency that this is what you're doing. And the expectation is that if you're going to kind of walk around in these areas and such, this is what we're going to do. These are high crime areas, and we're going to enforce these areas. Yeah, get on the boat or against the wall. They started moving in my neighborhood, and things started getting stolen and broken into. I personally had 2 bikes, my van broken into since they started moving. Oh, yeah, but the thing is, like, I live in a pretty decently nice area, and I think the community kind of, like, we watch out for things, which is nice. But I know people that live in nicer areas than me that get broken into. I actually know of somebody who had a police officer's house was broken into. So people will go to nice areas to break into them. They're not necessarily people that live in those areas and such. So it's the onus is on you to protect your things and protect your sorry that you lost some stuff, buddy, but if somebody sees a hole in your security, or they see an opportunity to be able to steal from you, or take advantage of your something, unfortunately there are a lot of people out there that'll do that. So you just have to kind of be diligent that unless you know the people that aren't going to do it, you just have to assume everyone's going to do it. Yeah, I haven't had anything, knock on wood, I haven't had anything stolen in a while. So but I have had things stolen, and it does suck. It's rough shit. All right, let me move on to the next thing here. What I may talk about for a little bit. Let's see. All right, so Argentina has a new government as of late last year, I think December of 2023, and they've been up to a lot of stuff over the start of 2024. They're making some pretty big changes. I'm going to read this article here. This is a Substack article. I don't typically get into these, but this was shared by my buddy Art, and it was a good article. So I figured I'm going to kind of delve into it and talk a little bit about what Argentina is doing and how that could kind of correlate the rest of the Western world. So we'll see. This is an article by Joel Bowman, again, a Substack, A Libertarian Hell. So I've gone through this article and highlighted the spots to read. It's a little bit heavy. It's writing to a certain type of reader that would understand a lot of what it's saying. I'm going to try and parse some of it out, the layman's, but even I had it's a little thick for me even, and I'm pretty good with this stuff usually, but here we go. So speaking at the Catholic University of Argentina yesterday, Luis Toto Caputo, the nation's top economic minister, confirmed that the impuesto pays, a tax that is applied to purchases of foreign services, including purchases of foreign currency for savings purposes and purchases made with foreign cards, will be lowered from 17.5% to 7.5% as part of a series of policies designed to return purchasing power to free market. This will contribute to lowering inflation, Caputo told the audience of mostly faculty and students from the university's economics department. If we want to do something for those who have less, the most important thing is to end the scourge of inflation. So the announcement came just 2 days after the Malay government confirmed that it will begin rolling back a series of taxes and regulations, including withholding requirements on the National Value Added Tax, the IVA, and the ganancias tax, or the profits tax. The Ministry of Economy, so this part of the article here was actually translated from Spanish, so it may read a little weird, but here it is. The Ministry of Economy announced today that it will eliminate VAT and profit tax withholdings on sales made by businesses and promised that in the next 30 days, there will be new measures to lower the Argentine cost that impacts price levels. The rule, estimated at the Ministry of Finance, will be published in the official Gazette this week and will come into effect in September. In the Ministry of Economy, they told La Nacion that starting next month, the AFIP will no longer withhold VAT and profit tax advances from businesses, which are national taxes. There are similar provincial tax regimes. The first rule included in the fiscal package set a limit, which was going to be 11.2 million. However, now they confirmed there will be no cap. So, in other words, they're not going to start withholding these taxes from businesses. They used to cap it, but now there's not going to be a cap of what they withhold. So that should, in essence, start to incentivize businesses to do business and, build the economy. That's the way that's obviously designed to work, and I can't see why it wouldn't. Then on Thursday, the Ministry of Commerce announced the removal of additional company reporting requirements aimed at reducing unnecessary bureaucracy. The national government repealed 3 resolutions that forced different sectors to present information to the state that was not used, with the aim of reducing the bureaucracy that weighs on companies. That's the problem with bureaucracy in any country. It's all the red tape, right? It's like you want to build something, you have to go through 17 permits, and then each permit takes X amount of time. You want to build a house, and it takes you a year and a half to build a house that probably would take 3 months. That's what they're trying to eliminate, all those bureaucracies and red tape to allow free flow movement in the market. In Argentina, obviously, since the economy was so slow and so bad, right? The number of regulations eliminated by the Ministry of Commerce has now risen to 72. So they did that in the 80s in the U.S. Deregulation is supposed to spur the economy, which it started to do, and sometimes it can be bad. There's a whole angle on that, but in this case, they just kind of got to remove all the red tape from Argentina and allow them to start to rebuild their economy. So longtime notes readers will recall that back in December, Javier Milei's libertarian administration inherited the single highest rate of inflation anywhere on the planet, a planet which includes, lest we forget, deadbeat dictator states like Venezuela, Zimbabwe, and the Sudan. From a high of 25.5% in December, down to 11 by March, then single digits in April, May, and June, and a new low of 4% for the month of July. The latest on record is no exaggeration to say the Malay government has brought this long-suffering country back from the hyperinflation brink. So-called core inflation came in at 3.8 for the period. Here's the month-over-month data, so you won't be able to really see this, but here's as we go. So this is year-over-year essentially. So from August of last year, it was at 12.4, September 12.7, October 8.3, November 12.8, and then boom, in December went up to 25.5. Down in January to 20.6, February 13.2, March 11, April 8.8, May 4.2, June a little up again to 4.6, and then July 4.0. So it's in the trending down, which is great. Among the items to see the biggest price increases in July were hotels and restaurants, 6.5%, and alcohol and tobacco, 6.1%. Among the items that increased less than the average were food and non-alcoholic drink, 3.2%, transport, 2.6%, and clothing and footwear 1.6%. Funny, transport's the most important of that because you got to get shit around, right? So restaurants and alcohol and tobacco, that's all like the non-essential, but the shit that keeps people sane. So now the long-term year-over-year trend has also begun to turn. Down 8 points since last month, but with a long way to go. Still, it takes time to turn a ship the size of the economy of a country around. All right. So it goes a little bit more into some other stuff, but here we go. So dollar bonds have risen by an average of 45% this year alone, as its Standard & Poor's country risk index fell from 2,900 base points to 1,500 base points, which obviously pretty significant drop. You see by here that you can see that they're starting to get down and align with some of the other countries that are in their sort of sector, right? Which is good. I mean, they were, if you know anything about Argentina in the last bunch of years, their economy was just a nightmare. Venezuela and I mean Venezuela's worse, but Argentina was just, there was nothing coming out of there. There's nothing good. You weren't investing in Argentina, but this could turn the tides for them. So here we go. Stats upgrade. What does that mean exactly? Consider that the average emerging market country carries a risk spread of 700 base points. What might a potential upgrade to emerging market status mean for Argentina? On Tuesday, JP Morgan noted that just such an upgrade from index provider MSCI could trigger nearly $1 billion in investor inflows. So people could start investing back into Argentina, which would be massive for their economy. Whereas nobody would touch it before, unless you were, heavy risk taker and you were like, well, let's see, we throw a little bit of money into this dumpster fire of a country and maybe we get a return in 10, 20 years. But now you can see that there'll actually be good money thrown at it with the economy starting to change. So currently MSCI classifies Argentina as a standalone market, basically a degenerate outsider. If that were to change and Argentina were invited back into the investable suite of emerging market indices, well, this is from Reuters in London. Argentina's government under President Javier Milei has been on a major reform push and has pledged to move into phase 2 of its plan to stabilize the crisis-hit economy with inflation in triple digits, a deepening recession, and myriad capital controls that skew trade but are in place to shield the peso. If Argentina were to rejoin the MSCI EM indexes, JP Morgan predicted 4 firms would be part of the MSCI Argentina Standard Index: YPF, Grupo Financiero Galicia, Banco Macro, and Pampa Energia, while the MSCI Argentina Small Cap Index would have 11 constituents. This is where you lose me. I don't know the indexes in Argentina, but with an estimated weight of 0.2% in EM, Argentina would stand between Colombia and Peru in the EM index, said JP Morgan's Diego Caladon. If a reclassification materializes, JP Morgan estimates potential inflows could reach nearly $1 billion, including $786 million from the standard index and $176 million from the small cap index. So I've invested in small caps. That's kind of a big deal. I'm sure that would mean a lot of mining things going on there and such. That would be my guess. And right on cue, here's Andrew Cummins, founder of the Explorador Capital, who told Bloomberg he reckons Argentina could well become one of the best global investments over the next 5 years. I believe that in the next 60 to 90 days, we will see a signal based on the results of a tax amnesty, the outcomes of the conversations happening with the IMF, and the results related to the agriculture sector's liquidation. As we get indications of success on these fronts, I believe the removal of capital controls becomes inevitable. Therefore, even before they are lifted, we will increase our position in Argentina. I am very optimistic about the prospects for Argentina because the size of the government is being reduced. And with that, we will see the unlocking of human potential. So, so the article is pretty heavily, it's a weighty type of article. It's kind of hard to parse through. But the takeaway from that is all of the movements that this government's been making by limiting the size of the government, by cutting tax, by trying to drive the economy to start to produce again. You get outside investors from different countries and different capital fund managers, essentially, to take a look again, like JP Morgan Chase, to take a look and actually start to put money into or invest into Argentina, which is a massive thing. Obviously, the more investor funds you can get in, the better, obviously, for the economy that they're investing in. So, I mean, hey, this might be sort of the fast forward, or sorry, the fast forward, the preemptive strike on investing in the emerging markets of Argentina for anybody who's looking to actually put some money somewhere like that. If you're kind of worried about what the market's doing here in the West with the U.S. economy and the Canadian economy and even the Europe economy, might be somewhere to kind of hedge your bets. All right, good. The tax thing sound like something they need to bring to North America. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's hopefully what's going to happen with the new government, right? If the right government gets in. I don't know. I don't want to say too much about that. I don't want to get throttled. Yeah, it's funny. Javier, I mean, what's he got to lose? I mean, he's gone in there. He's more of a libertarian, right? He's just going in there saying small government. He kind of reminds me a little bit more of what's his face? Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. The brown guy. The brown almost billionaire that ran for president. You'll correct me in the thing. I'm just losing his name. It's not coming to me right now. But yeah, he kind of reminds me of him. A little bit more radical approach to government change, where I don't think Trump's going to do that. I think Trump's going to play ball a little bit. But we'll see. Let me get on the last thing here. Bust through this. I went a little long on that last one. I knew I was going to, because it's kind of a heavy article, and I even went through it quite a bit. All right. So if you watch this podcast, you'll know that I like Clown World on X. There's a page called Clown World, and I like it. I go in and look for videos. This case, though, this week I found one that just pissed me off. This one is just a symptom of the problem with society, I think. I'm not going to give you much more than that. I'm just going to play the video, and then I'm going to kind of comment a little, and we're going to get pissed off together, and you're welcome. But here goes.
This white idiot.
Oh, racist as well now.
I'm literally grabbing you by your balls.
No, you're not.
This male passenger was minding his own business until a woman opposite him began using his seat as a footrest. Annoyed by her disrespect, he confronted.
Have you ever been on a plane or on somewhere where you're in close proximity, a bus, anything like that, you're in close proximity to someone and they do things like that? How aggravating and irritating it is, and how just disrespectful. And there's so many words you can use for it. Just disgusting. People like this are awful. Anyways. All right, here goes.
Her, but is then surprised by how she retaliates.
You're an idiot.
All I am is
I'll slap you.
like you.
You're so used to women being quiet when you're talking and touch me again, I'll slap you. You're an idiot.
No, you're the idiot.
That's why you're not married, you idiot. No one will stand your stupid ass. Are you married? Are you married? Are you sure? Are you sure? She's not cheating on you or anything.
No,
Are you sure?
No, because she's a...
What an idiot. That's why he's not married. What are you talking about? What is she even talking about? She just decided she wanted to pick on this guy because he's white, maybe. I don't know she's probably just a complete racist. What's the point? You're gonna put your foot up like a disgusting pig, and he's supposed to just be like, oh yeah, put your foot up on my lap, wherever you want it. It's fine. Ugh. All right.
really nice Yoruba.
I'm pretty sure she's nice. She's
Really
Yoruba.
nice Yoruba lady,
She's
yeah.
Nigerian, so she's like, trust me, she's using your money.
No, I don't think...
Trust me, she doesn't love you. I'm Nigerian.
No,
You're
I
an
know what
idiot.
you're like, but I don't
You're
know
an
what she's
idiot.
like.
Touch me again, I'll slap you.
Other train riders sat uncomfortably as the pair argued with one another.
I don't want to touch.
Your wife is where I'm from, so I know you know her attitude. So
See, this is what I hate as well. This is what I hate about society. If I'm sitting beside and I see her do that, I'd say something. You're just gonna leave this guy out to the woods. Like, what's he supposed to do? This is what's so aggravating about this to me. For one, she's gonna play a couple of cards. She's gonna play the female card, number one. Then she's gonna play the black card. So she calls him a racist. So now he's racist. Whatever. You're racist, clearly. You're the one bringing it up. You're just being a goof, and you're putting your foot in between his leg. Doesn't matter what color you are. Anyways, so she's gonna play both those cards. So what's he gonna do? He's just gonna sit back and have to take it. He's gonna try and argue with her, but really, she's just dragging him down into her idiot pit of stupidity. it's a zero-sum game for him. Like, what's he gonna do? I don't even know what I would do if somebody did that to me. I think I might just lift my leg and just jam my leg against her leg. I like, what are you gonna do? You're in my space right now. You've got your leg between my legs. Well, I would just like, I would probably try and hurt her. You know, call me whatever you want to call me for that, but she's a piece of shit. She deserves something. Like, I wish there was someone there on the train to actually stand up for the guy and say something, but nobody's saying anything. They're just allowing this. They're filming it. There should be a security guard of some sort come over and throw her off the train. So you're not allowed to be in society. You're a piece of shit. You can't act properly with people on a clearly a crowded train. So get off. Get out. Like, it's so weird. It's so aggravating to me.
You know that we have the same attitude. So touch me again and I will slap you the same way your wife beats you at home.
She's threatening him. In what world are you going to slap him? Only a world where you're protected for this bullshit. Otherwise, if this were like, if we're in a time where there isn't society to protect you, he's going to slap you tasteless. Like, it's silly. It's silly that this is allowed. But anyways, this is when I'll let the rest of the video play. This is pissing me off already.
Chair so that I have to get dirt on my trousers. So now you know what it's like.
That's assault. That's assault right there. She's assaulting him right now.
You're laughing because
I would punch her. I would punch her calf so bad she wouldn't be able to walk.
Listen, my feet is literally by your balls. I'm literally grabbing you by your balls.
No, you're not.
Do you understand that? Do you understand
No,
that?
you're not.
You're an idiot. You're actually an
Making
idiot.
yourself look a complete
You're actually
fool.
an idiot.
You're
You know
making
that?
yourself look a complete fool.
Embarrassed that she feels like she's losing the pair's disagreement, she resorts to filming him.
Respect other people's property. Take your shoes off my feet.
You know what'd be even funnier, actually? You know what'd be even funnier in this case? If he just grabbed her and started creepily rubbing her, like, that would be fucking hilarious. It's so funny. Just starts lifting her pant leg and start rubbing her leg. That would be pretty funny. I wouldn't do it because I think she's gross, but that would be funny.
Oh, racist as well now.
Idiot.
Oh, racism. I love it.
Being quiet when you're talking and touch me again, I'll slap you.
Follow Daily Mail for more.
Okay. Touch me again and I'll slap you. That's what she says to him. Yeah. This one got my blood boiling for whatever reason, but yeah, that's the problem with our society right now. We're not polite to each other. We don't respect each other's spaces, and this idiot, she's clearly watching too much shit that's telling her that this is how you should be, both racist and you should just threaten this guy because he's not going to be able to do anything. That's just a coward. Cowards do that, right? Like, if you threaten someone knowing that you're not at risk of getting a punch in the face, well, you're a coward because you're just looking for other people to save you. Because I guarantee if he got up and knocked her out, she'd be crying for someone to help her. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's not, yeah. Well, it's because we live in a global society now, and people just watch this garbage where people post this shit on the internet and stuff, and they get behind it. I don't know. Bunch of idiots. Starting to crack. No. Listen, I live in Canada, man. One, the thing about it is I don't understand. I just don't understand racism. Never understood it. The reason why I don't understand racism is because it's so simple. Such a simple, small thing to look at. You're looking at the color of someone's skin or something. Now, I can understand being like disliking someone's culture, because culture is a very immersive thing, right? But the pure color of someone's skin or the look of them, they look different because of their race. It's just silly to me. I don't get it. But I think it's cultures. I think we conflate the two. I think we conflate like this difference of culture with race, and then whatever. But so that's, I've never understood racism as a thing where she's looking and she's picking out the fact that he's a white guy. Okay, well, that's stupid. Okay, why aren't you picking out the fact he's wearing a suit? Like, it's the same thing to me. It's just a It's just surface level bullshit. But anyways, all right, that one got me riled up, and that got me over an hour. Yeah, well, no, you're right. That is. I mean, we kind of are the societies that have worked, right? The multicultural societies that have worked. The problem with that, I think, is when you get cultures coming in to a multicultural society and trying to dominate with their culture. That's where you get the problem. That's in my opinion, anyway. Like if you take different cultures into a multicultural society and you try and take the best parts of each culture and you blend them together, I think that works personally. And I think that's where that melting pot idea comes from. Canada is kind of like that, but now with just mass immigration, it's kind of starting to destroy that a little bit. It's too fast, right? But you get more of a the blending of cultures happens more over generations than it does very quickly, in my opinion, because if you do it very quickly, then it becomes a cultural war, like a battle of now got this culture established and then you've got this culture coming in and there's enough to get them to fight. And yeah, I do agree that some cultures just don't mix. Races, I think, all mix fine. The cultures don't mix fine. I agree with that. Just change one word. All right. Well, we're over an hour now, so that's it. That's all I got. If you are watching, or you have watched the podcast, and you aren't yet a subscriber, do hit the subscribe. That would help out. If you like it, that is. If you don't like it, well, hey, you know what? If you catch it sometimes and you don't like it and you just want to hate on me, jump in the comments and make some funny comments. I don't mind that either. If it makes me laugh, I'm cool. If it doesn't, well, I just think you're stupid and I'll make fun of you. Either way, get in the conversation. It's fun. If you want to check out the podcast, don't try and check me out next week because I won't be here. Check me out in 2 weeks' time, Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I will be here. Generally goes for about an hour. So if you've got an hour to kill on Monday at 7 o'clock, come check me out. Get in the in the chat. Joe says you'll see me next week. You will not. I'm not here, man. I won't be here. I don't care. So yeah. And if you missed any part of the podcast and you don't want to watch the whole thing again, I don't blame you. You can check out small bite-sized clips of it between Tuesday and Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And obviously with those, like, share, comment, all that engagement helps the channel. If you like it, if you don't, again, well, comment anyway. I like the people that comment. Good, funny comments. I get them sometimes and it makes me laugh. So, and if you don't want to make me laugh, you just want to hurt my feelings, you can do that too. Just try and make that funny. It'll hurt it'll do both. It'll hurt my feelings and still make me laugh. So it's a win-win. All right. That's it for me. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for the other viewers. I saw you jumping in and out, but nobody was talking. But thanks for anybody who did watch and were watching. Even if you didn't say anything. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time. And until then, thanks for watching and take care. We'll see you then.